Hey everyone, I've been blessed with an interview with Grant, who is a long distance runner and a really tremendous athlete. And he talks a lot about diet and nutrition. So, in your long distance running, what kind of nutrition are you looking for as you're, like even before you go on your run?
Yeah, typically the day before a race, I'll just make sure I'll make sure I eat enough calories from juicy fruits or from maybe bananas, things like that. Leading up to a race, I'll make sure I've been eating a mineral-rich diet through eating plenty of raw salads, like leafy green vegetables, cucumbers, zucchinis, tomatoes, all that sort of thing once a day, and plenty of fruit leading up. I'll make sure I get enough sleep also combined with that. Maybe 10 hours sleep a night leading up to a race.
10 hours of sleep? And hydration?
Yeah, I want to stay hydrated leading up to a race. Typically I get most of my water from my food, so by eating juicy fruits like watermelon, mango, foods like that.
So you don't drink a lot of water?
No.
Okay.
I do during races. I don't hesitate to drink water when I need to, but I find that typically just through the juicy fruits that I eat, I get enough water to stay hydrated, and I measure hydration by the number of times I pee per day. So if I'm peeing 8 to 12 times a day and it's fairly clear with some volume, enough volume, then I'm I call that well hydrated.
Mm-hmm. How do you focus on that? Like when we say long distance, we're talking 100 miles. Have you done a 150-mile race?
I'll be doing a 160-mile race in December.
Wow.
The longest I've done so far would be 102 miles, 106 miles.
106 miles. Do you plan out places to get nourishment? I mean, you just can't run 106 miles, can you?
Not without eating, no.
No.
So I definitely need to eat during a race. Most of the races that I do have checkpoints along the way. Other races, sometimes I just do fun runs with friends, and we just go out into the wilderness and run for 100 miles or so. And we'll find access points where we can go in with the car the day before and drop some water or drop a little bit of food somewhere so we can pick that up, or maybe some clothing, warm clothing for the night time. Drop those off at a certain point that's accessible during the race, and and then just kind of carry the minimal gear we need to be safe out there.
Okay. So there's the fun run, but if you're doing it for an official race, is there a certain amount of time that you stop while you are eating and taking in liquid?
Yeah, typically, say I do a 100-mile race through mountains. A typical race, I'll probably get support around every 4 or 5 hours. I'll get to a checkpoint where I'll have a friend waiting there with some food for me. And over a race, like a 100-mile race through mountains, there's one example recently where I ate 40 pounds of mango during the race, or 18 kilos of mango during a race, and usually have a little bit of celery just to get a little bit of extra minerals in, and then I just drink water on top of that. But with that race where I ate 40 pounds of mango, I got 14 quarts of water from my food.
Wow.
And I only had to drink 10 quarts of water. So I find it's much more efficient to get your water from your food where you can, but it's a hot climate. You definitely need to drink plenty of water to replace your sweat.
Do you weigh yourself at these stations?
Some races I do, they will kick you out of the race if you lose a certain percentage of your body weight. So sometimes I have to make sure I don't eat before the race. So I weigh in light,
Yeah.
and then eat food, and then start the race. And yeah, it's an interesting. And then they'll weigh you later at points during the race, so it's really important. And I think that's a good thing, because you should be able to maintain your weight, but you've really you don't want to be weighing in at a full, like having a meal in your belly and then weigh in, because you're going to be over the weight, and then they'll pull you out of the race for no good reason.
Wow.
Later in the race when you haven't just had a meal.
Mm-hmm. Do you stop for a specific amount of time when you stop to eat, or do you just grab it and go?
I typically will stop at a checkpoint. I'll change my socks to a new pair. Actually, lately I've been changing my shoes and socks to a new pair of Vibrant Five Fingers and a new pair of socks the fresh socks just, it changes your world. It just feels really nice to get fresh socks on. And it helps me, I never get blisters anymore when I change my socks every 5 or 6 hours with the toe socks. I'll stop at a checkpoint to also replace the water in my Camelback, but somebody else will do that. I'll just give them my bag, they'll fill up the water and bring it back to me. And I'll usually eat, maybe if I'm eating mangoes, I'll eat a couple of mangoes at the checkpoint and then get up and run with another couple of mangoes and eat a few mangoes during the next 20 minutes or so on the run. And then I'm not carrying all that weight. I'm not carrying it. It's better to eat the food at the checkpoint or soon after leaving the checkpoint, so I'm not carrying the weight while I'm running.
Okay. So you're not wearing sneakers like everybody else wears. You're wearing those 5-toed gloves.
That's right. I wear Vibram 5-finger. It's like a glove for your feet, but it has enough rubber on the bottom to protect you from rocks and rough terrain. And it's amazing. I don't get sore legs I used to get when I ran in shoes. When I ran in regular training shoes like Asics or Brooks. Yeah. When you wear those barefoot shoes, they have a soft bottom, so when you tread on a stone, on a rock, it'll mould around it, which is a little bit uncomfortable. But you soften your knee, you can feel that. You can feel everything you step on, so you feel that you've just trodden on a stone. You soften your knee and you can kind of run out of it without falling over. But if I was in a shoe, it just goes over and the next thing you're on the ground with a sprained ankle.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
it's almost impossible to sprain your ankle in 5 fingers. So that's a really good benefit for a trail runner. Not have fear of spraining your ankle.
So, I mean, obviously you're running in different climates. So, what's the hottest or the hottest race you've ever run?
The hottest race I've ever done would be the race I did in May this year in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, up in the north of Thailand. It was a 24-hour race. I came second. I did 101 miles, 162.8 kilometers. And I drank 26 drinking coconuts, the water of the coconuts. I didn't eat the coconut meat because that would be too high fat, it would slow me down. So I just drank the 26 coconuts. I ate 13 mangoes, 2 cucumbers and 1 papaya. And then I drank several quarts of water, maybe 3 quarts of water through the race.
Do most of the people that run eat mangoes, or is that just what you do?
I've found that mangoes are one of the best foods to race on because they give you plenty of calories, but also a lot of juice, a lot of water. So other people like to race on mangoes, but they're too attached to eating other foods. They think they need to eat the known protein foods, and which tend to be high fat foods, or they processed refined foods.
So when you started, were you a vegan when you started running?
I really started running through going vegetarian then vegan. It took me about 18 months to transition from going vegetarian to being vegan. And then I was on a cooked vegan diet for 6.5 years. Now I've been doing a raw vegan diet for 8 years.
Well, did it shave time off your running?
Well, going 80-10-10 raw vegan, just eating low-fat plant foods, I found that I took 2.5 hours off of race time just year to year. So I was doing a 100-kilometre, 60-mile race through mountains that took me 21.5 hours. And I've been taking that sort of time for the previous 3 years, 22 hours, 21.5 hours, pretty consistent. Wasn't really making any benefits. And then I started eating 80-10-10, did the race again, and I did it in 19 hours. And then I did a water fast for 29 days. And 6 months after breaking that fast, and I was eating 80-10-10 all that time. And then I did the same race again and took another 2.5 hours off. So I took 5 hours off my race time in 2 years.
Holy
down to
cow.
16.5 hours just through changing diet to raw plant foods, keeping it low fat, through getting sufficient sleep and rest that I kind of learned through the water fasting experience and the other benefits that came from water fasting.
So if people wanted to start running 100, 150 mile races, which, I mean, there obviously are people out there. There's a lot of people in these races.
There's a lot of people racing. Yeah.
What's the best way for them to start? Can you just go on the 80-10-10, or do you need to kind of work your way into it.
So what's the best way for them to start the diet?
Yeah,
I mean, the best way to do it is to just go 100% and just do it. But to do that, you need to have the support mechanism to support the environment to support your success. So you know, educating yourself, buying educational materials from foodandsport.com, for example. Like the Perfect Health program was what I listened to. It was a 12-hour audio program that teaches you about social situations, how much fruit to eat, how to ripen fruit, why eat fruits, why eat vegetables, why shouldn't you bother with colonics and superfoods and all these other things that turn out to be gimmicks.
And if they were going to start racing, then obviously the best way is hydration, sleep, and nutrition, correct?
Yeah, you've got to get enough sleep to perform well. Nutrition, by having foods that our body digests really easily, like fruit. Ripe fruit is really easy to digest. It doesn't take much energy to digest food. That frees up your energy for activity, so you can be more active, so you can train better. And the fruits and vegetables, the raw fruits and vegetables, are also supporting your physiology to recover really fast from your athletic endeavours, so you can train harder, recover faster, and just keep building and grow your skills faster.
So you're really looking forward to your 160-mile race?
Absolutely. It's 3 weeks after a 106-mile race as well, so it's
wow.
going to be a nice little.
Yeah. Is that through the mountains as well?
The 106-mile race is through mountains and has 4 miles of elevation gain and loss. They allow you 36 hours to complete that race. Last year I did it in 34 hours, and this year I'm hoping to do it in around 30 hours. We'll see how I go. And then 3 weeks later I'm doing the 160-mile race, which starts at the ocean in Australia on the east coast and climbs to over the 160 miles, climbs to the highest peak in Australia.
Wow.
So, which is Mount Kosciuszko. So the race is called Coast to Kosciuszko, C2K.
Wow. Do you have any videos online or any books or information that you can...
Yeah,
how can people get in touch with you?
I have a website, rawausieathlete.com, RAWAUSSIEATHLETE.com, rawausieathlete.com. On there I run retreats twice a year, a 2-week retreat in Thailand, teaching about this lifestyle of eating raw fruits and vegetables and getting enough sleep and all the things that people thrive on. So it's just a healthy lifestyle retreat. And I also run a retreat in Australia each year for 3 days. That's all on the website. I put a lot of blogs and posts about my runs and my fasting experience and various photos up on the website there. So that's a good way to catch me. Grant at rawausieathlete.com is my email address.
Okay. Now, if they go to a retreat, is the retreat about nutrition, and do they run, or are they just there to learn fasting and nutrients and when fruits are ripe?
Yeah, it's kind of a full immersion program, so we're there to not only get enough sleep while we're there, but also to have some education. We have group discussions, talk about not just food and nutrition, but also the emotional aspects that cause people to struggle with their nutrition, with their food choices. Because you can't. It's really hard to change your diet if you've got some emotional issues that are holding you back from choosing to love and nurture yourself.
Absolutely.
So, but we also do lots of things in nature. We go to waterfalls and beaches, and we go to organic farms and cut fruit from the trees.
Cool.
It's a really beautiful experience.
Very good. Well, thank you, Grant. I appreciate
My pleasure.
the interview, and everybody who, if you've never met Grant or learned stuff from him, he's amazing. Go to his site, check him out, get to the retreats. You'll never regret it.
See you there.
Awesome.